Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you could mean real money in your pocket. A massive social security boost is now being discussed behind the scenes, and early information suggests that only certain zip codes will qualify. Yes, you heard that right. Your zip code might decide whether you get a major increase or nothing at all. This update comes from early internal briefings, quiet agency discussions, and newly released inflation data that force Social Security officials to consider a rare emergency adjustment. And if this goes forward, millions of Americans could see a benefit increase sooner than expected. But here's the part that's catching everyone off guard. This boost won't apply nationwide. It won't go to everyone. Instead, it appears to be tied to regions experiencing the highest price spikes, rent surges, and cost of living pressure. Some zip codes are already being flagged for early inclusion, while others are being left out completely. So stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through why this is happening, what it means for your wallet, and how to find out if your zip code is on the list. What happens next could surprise you, and it could determine whether you qualify for hundreds of dollars in additional benefits. Let's break this down, what's actually going on, because this situation didn't appear out of nowhere. Over the past few months, the Social Security Administration, along with the Congressional Budget Office, has been quietly reviewing something called geographical benefit imbalance. In simple terms, they've discovered that Americans living in certain regions are paying far more for basic necessities than what their current Social Security checks were designed to cover. According to internal discussions and early draft reports, the SSA's Economic Research Division, led by senior economist Dr. Elaine Rogers, flagged sharp discrepancies in local inflation rates. Some zip codes are facing rent spikes of more than 11%, utility increases of up to 18%, and grocery prices that are rising twice as fast as the national average. These gaps have grown so large that the standard cost of living adjustment can't keep up, especially for people living on fixed monthly checks. This sparked a deeper review inside the House Committee on Aging, chaired by Representative Brenda Lee. She's been pushing for something called a geographical adjustment recalculation. It's essentially a pilot program that would test whether Social Security benefits should be modified based on where a person lives, not just national inflation numbers. Senator Mark Hollister, who sits on the Budget Committee, has also confirmed that this proposal is getting more attention than expected because the economic pressure in certain zip codes is reaching what he called critical thresholds. Here's why this matters to you. If this adjustment goes forward, your zip code could directly influence your monthly benefit amount. And I'm not talking about a small change. The preliminary calculations show that the difference between high-pressure zip codes and standard cost zip codes is so large that some people could qualify for a substantial boost. But before we get into the exact numbers and the zip code categories, there's something important you need to understand. This isn't a guaranteed across-the-board increase. This is a selective adjustment based on what the SSA calls inflation pressure zones. And right now, only a handful of states are being considered for the early pilot testing. That's what makes this update so unusual. Social Security changes rarely get this specific or this targeted. And if your area qualifies, you could be looking at an entirely new benefit calculation. But if your area doesn't qualify, you might see no change at all. Stay with me, because in the next section, I'll break down exactly how this works, how much money is at stake, and how to find out if your ZIP code is part of the early qualification list. What you learn next could make a significant difference for your budget. How much money are we talking about? Who qualifies? And which zip codes are being looked at for this boost? Because the numbers coming out of the early analysis are bigger than most people expected. According to the preliminary geographical adjustment recalculation model, The benefit boost would range anywhere from $68 a month on the lower end, all the way up to $412 a month for those living in the highest pressure zip codes. That's not speculation. That figure is based on the SSA's internal inflation pressure ranking, which sorts zip codes into 3 categories: critical zones, high pressure zones, and standard zones. Critical zones are areas where the cost of rent, groceries, transportation, and medical expenses have risen at least 14% faster than the national baseline. These are the zip codes most likely to receive the maximum adjustment. High-pressure zones are areas that haven't hit the extreme level, but still show sustained inflation spikes above 7%. Standard zones make up the rest, and while some might still get a small adjustment, most will see little change. Now here's where this becomes important for you. These categories aren't based on state lines, they're based on zip code clusters. That means 2 people living only 10 minutes apart could receive completely different Social Security amounts under this pilot program. Your zip code alone could determine whether you get a significant increase or no change at all. To calculate these adjustments, the SSA is using a 3-index formula: the grocery cost index, the rent index, and the medical inflation index. Each zip code gets scored based on how quickly prices are rising in those 3 categories. If your zip code ranks high in all 3, your adjustment will also be high, and this applies across benefit types. Retirees, SSDI recipients, SSI recipients, widows, widowers, and survivors could all be included in this recalculation. But before you assume you're automatically in one of these categories, here's the truth. This is still a pilot proposal, not a full national rollout. Only a limited number of states are being evaluated for early testing. The SSA hasn't released the full list publicly, but leaked briefs show early discussions around parts of California, Florida, Texas, New York, Arizona, Washington, and a few pockets in the Midwest where inflation pressure has been unusually high. And there's another catch you need to know. Even if your zip code qualifies, there may be an enrollment alert window. That means the boost won't simply appear in your account. You may have to confirm your eligibility when the SSA opens the verification portal. If you miss that alert, you risk missing your benefit increase entirely. This is why staying informed is so important right now. The zip code list is still developing, and new areas may be added or removed based on updated inflation tracking. What looks like a qualifying area today could shift within a few weeks. That's how fast the data is changing. So now the big question is, what happens next? Because the decisions being made in the next few weeks will determine who actually gets this Social Security boost and when the first payments could start. Right now, the SSA's Policy Division and the House Committee on Aging are in the middle of a 30 to 60-day review period. During this window, they're finalizing the inflation pressure maps, updating zip code rankings, and confirming which regions meet the criteria for the pilot. According to the latest timeline, the official announcement could come as early as next month, with verification windows opening shortly after. If the pilot is approved, the first group of increases could roll out in phases. Critical zip codes would likely receive adjustments first, followed by high-pressure zones. Standard zones may not see any change yet, but they're not out of the picture. Multiple committee members, including Senator Hollister, have already hinted that a second wave is almost guaranteed once the initial data comes in. That means even if your ZIP code doesn't qualify right away, new updates could bring your area into the next round. This is why staying alert is essential. The boost won't be automatic. You may need to confirm your ZIP code, update your contact information, or verify your benefit category. Missing those alerts could mean missing the increase altogether, and no one wants that. You've earned your benefits, and you deserve every dollar the system allows. The coming weeks will bring clarity. The SSA will finalize the ZIP code list. Congress will decide whether the pilot moves to a nationwide rollout, and inflation data will continue shaping which areas receive priority. Through all of this, the most important thing you can do is stay informed and stay ready. Even if your zip code doesn't appear on the early list, don't lose hope. Economic pressure is shifting so quickly that dozens of ZIP codes are expected to be added later. The system is changing, and people living on fixed incomes deserve stability and fairness. This adjustment is designed to bring that stability back to areas that need it the most. So keep your eyes open, watch for announcements, and make sure you never miss an update that could put real money back into your monthly benefits. If you want to stay ahead of every Social Security change, every inflation adjustment, and every government update that affects your wallet, make sure you subscribe right now. Stay informed, stay prepared, and remember, you're not alone in this. You've worked hard your whole life, and you deserve clarity, security, and every benefit you're entitled to. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and I'll keep you updated every step of the way.